All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Mitch. I'm here with Darian today. We're going to be going over 5 common paint protection film mistakes you would do if you're new to PPF, and we'll kind of show you a little bit about how you can fix those mistakes. Let's get into it. All right, guys, the mistake we're going to talk about is not having a clean work environment. And that comes with a lot of different things. That is cleaning your panel, that is cleaning all surrounding panels, making sure your hands, your clothes, the floor, anything around the panel that you're installing is perfectly clean. That'll result in a much better product once you're done. What we'll do is we'll kind of walk you through our prep process that we do on all cars, and this way you guys can know how well of a job you're doing, whether or not you're following all those steps, most of those steps, just to give you an idea. So moving forward, you can have a better idea on how to prep your cars. So our prep process is gonna start, we're gonna put wheel covers on the cars. A couple reasons. One, keeps all the chemicals off the tires and the wheels. Number 2, is gonna keep the dirt from the tires and wheels off the panel. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look to see if there's any badges or license plates that need to get removed. That'll depend on which panels on the vehicle are getting covered in paint protection film. Once the badges and license plate are removed, we're gonna start washing the car. What we're gonna use as a waterless wash is just a soap and water mixture. The goal of that is gonna be just to take off all the dirt laying on top of the panels, any existing dirt that's loose that we could just wipe off. Once we have washed the full entirety of the car and all the panels we're covering, we're gonna use a clay bar or a clay mitt, depending on what's necessary. A lot of times we try to use a clay mitt because it's less abrasive than a clay bar. And for most of the cars we get in the shop, they're not crazy dirty. Clay mitt usually gets the job done. On vehicles that have a lot of rail dust or any kind of big gunked up stuff on the paint, we'll use a clay bar because it's gonna take a little more effort to get those stuff off. Once we've washed and clayed the car now, we're gonna be looking at our wraparound edges and cracks and crevices that pretty much follow the perimeter of each panel, where the film is gonna wrap around and tuck. We need to really make sure we have a good adhesion on the back side of each panel to make sure all the film is getting stuck correctly and it's not gonna peel up over time. Next, we're gonna use bug and tar removal to see if we need to, if there's any etching in the clear coat of any bugs that have been sitting on there for a while. It's usually gonna take a specific remover to remove those things, just because our regular chemicals that we use are not strong enough to remove the acidity from the bugs. Now that you got everything prepped up to this point, we're just gonna wipe down the paint one more time, making sure we didn't miss anything, go over all our stuff. And once that's completed, we're gonna start polishing on the paint. All right, guys, the second mistake that a lot of people make when trying to install PPF for the first time is stretching. So stretching in the wrong areas, I should say. Stretching in the wrong areas is really gonna cause a lot of issues. You want all the stretch to be in the center of your panel, not near the edges. When stretching near the edges, you're putting a lot of tension on those edges, and those edges tend to peel up. All panels need some sort of stretch, some more than others. Whether it's a piece of film you're working with is a pre-cut pattern to fit your panel exactly, or it's a bulk piece of film, stretching is often needed to ensure proper fitment and reduce excess film bunching up around the edges and corners. We try to keep all our stretch in the center of the panel and away from all edges so nothing lifts back up over time. Stretching near or directly on the edges will cause the film to lift up over time and will result in a poor install and an unhappy customer. The next mistake a lot of people make is not extracting water bubbles and air bubbles correctly. Everyone's gonna get air bubbles and water bubbles left in the film after install. It's really rare that you don't have anything left behind, and that's not a big deal. A big part of it is just extracting it correctly and using the proper tools. Leaving water bubbles in the film is not that big of a deal, and if caught soon after the panel was installed, you can easily fix it. When looking over your panel, you may notice different sized bubbles. If the bubble is small and flat to the panel, most of the time it'll cure out and there's really nothing you need to do about it. A bigger bubble needs attention. Usually it is wider in diameter and is lifted up off of the panel to the point where it is noticeable from many angles. Using the proper tools to extract the bubble is really important to us. We use a 29 gauge syringe. Really fine. It will not leave a big hole behind in the film when inserting it in. The tip of the needle is cut at an angle. The goal is to insert the syringe into the film with the sharp point leading the way. You want to try to go at it from an upwards angle from the bottom. There's less of a chance to visually see any insertions if you make a mistake and have to take multiple tries to minimize the bubble. The next mistake we're going to talk about is crucial, and I cannot stress this enough. This is a really important part to fix in your installs and making sure you're doing this correctly. It is not cutting too deep through your PPF into the paint. That is extremely important. There's a couple of different ways to practice and to tell whether or not you are cutting through all the film. or are you just scoring it correctly? Using the correct amount of knife pressure when cutting paint protection film is an essential part of becoming a good PPF installer. If not done correctly, it can lead to many issues, those being potential rust if the cut is too deep and it goes through your paint, having to repaint a panel on the vehicle. For a lot of businesses, it's important to not mess this up because you may be losing potential business from unhappy customers. The goal is to make sure the film is dry before cutting, and you want to listen to a light squeaking sound. That will let you know that you are scoring the film and not cutting fully through it. Enough depth to let you separate the film on the cut line. Remember to always break off a new blade, hold your knife at a 30-degree angle off of the panel you are cutting. And the last common mistake we'll talk about is not giving the film enough attention after it's been installed. This is really, really important to make sure the film lasts for a long time and you don't have unhappy customers coming back and asking you to repair, not having you have to go over your work. It saves you a lot of time. We like to let our film cure for about a day and look for any lifting on the edges. The goal is to catch these mistakes before the vehicle's out on the road. Another thing we do is we go over every edge of the film with our fingers to make sure all the edges are properly sealed down. This can play tricks in your eyes. It may look completed, but in reality, there's probably an area here and there that is still slightly lifted up off the paint. And that'll just result in dirt getting underneath the edge of the film, which will cause problems down the road. I recommend using a wrap glove or any kind of glove that'll give you a little more slip on the paint. It gives you a nice glide on your fingertip and it'll make the process a little bit faster. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. These were 5 common mistakes you make as a PPF installer with little to no experience. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.